Hello, YouTubers. Yeah, I know some of you don't like being called a Uber. So things are kind of crazy out there, aren't they? Thing. I don't know. I was recently spent over 2 weeks or so with a stomach thing. Prescribed some medication for an issue with my foot, and the medicine lists the whole list of gastric um, side effects that those things they never happen. They're just on the bottle because they just have to do it. But for some, you can see I didn't take the second one. The second week took me 2 weeks to get over the first pill. They said once you feel better, try taking another pill and see if you have the same response. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do that. You'll have to put me into a coma first. And yeah, watch pretty much the entire season, or seasons, 7 seasons of Star Trek Next Generation, and on to Voyager. Now I'm up to 4. It's been 2 weeks and a few days. And well, I'm kind of at eating like maybe one meal a day or so, one and a half. So I'm getting better. The good news is that home and staying out of the world is probably the best thing for me because it keeps me from getting flu, and people don't bat an eye. So it's all about fear, and you know, because even if I get it, I'll get over it. I would recommend that anybody that has any issues around respiratory kind of. I have. This is my. I have a few things. I take about 13 or so vitamin D and a black elderberry. Now, I'm taking it as a supplement because of the honey. But if you can make your own elderberry syrup, and you can have it in your tea. You can have it on ice cream. You can put it on your toast. Elderberry syrup, the dried elderberries, and you can get all the ingredients. You can search elderberry syrup online. Be able to find it already made in a really good stocked health food store, but it's really easy to make yourself, and you can buy all the ingredients and then make it up yourself. What I've done in the past is I'll make up a big batch, and then I will bottle it in jars and put it in the refrigerator. Usually gets scoffed up by my kids. And then I take the goop. You get the goop out of your through cheesecloth, all the seeds and cinnamon sticks and whatever you put in it. You strain it all out in cheesecloth, and then you add your honey after that to the mixture, as sweet as you liked it to have it is. You take the goop and you put it out onto a cookie sheet and dry it, and then store it away in plastic bags or mason jars. and then you can use that to, you get one of those tea balls, put the stuff in it, and you can make tea, so that the milk extends its life a lot further. Um, the directions will say discard the goop, but then you have the tea for a long time. So that way you don't always have to mix up a batch of the elderberry. So I've been doing the caplets. It just saves me from the honey. Ooh. Over here for a second. There we go. I want to see me trying to get up and move around in the chair. Move the butt around. Vitamin D is another thing to take, but you can have your doctor check your blood vitamin D level and make sure that you're within the range you're supposed to be. You probably don't want to take vitamin D randomly. That colloidal silver is supposed to be pretty good too. Um, so, there's stuff that you can do. I would swear by that elderberry, um, elderberry syrup, elderberry tea. I think it's one of the things that keeps me healthy. But like I say, I've been sick for a lot of people. I don't know if you've noticed that I haven't been very attentive. I've watched YouTube, but not a lot of YouTube. I'm watching more Star Trek Jenner. And I've slept through half the series. I've been sleeping a lot, and so if I watched the series again, I'd probably be awake for the same episodes that I was awake for the other time. But it's I really don't have any interest in the new Star Treks. They're not the same. It's really the whole crew. We have this new one here with Picard. I only watched one episode because it was free. But Picard really wasn't the one that made the episode work. It was everybody else. You got to have a good cast actor, and if they don't have a good cast, then I think the program is lost at it. So now I'm on the Voyager. Funny thing about Voyager is they seem to have an unlimited number of shuttlecrafts. It's like that series, Space 1999. I don't know if it's that one. It was a moon base alpha that we started storing nuclear waste, and who knows, we could be doing it now. But they were storing their nuclear waste from the nuclear power plants on the moon, and then there was an accident, launched the moon out of space, and the military base that was up there, which was probably British, it wasn't U.S. It was probably British, but it might have been might have been a worldly thing. But we're trapped on the moon. And they had their shuttles, and they and it's a funny thing because if you watch Star Trek Enterprise, they pretty much only had like one or two shuttles shuttles, but the shuttle always was in the next episode, so they retrieved it. They might have broken down, but somehow or other they got it back up off the planet. And I can't remember now with the original Star Trek series, because I didn't really pay attention the same way. They did more beaming than they did actually using the shuttlecraft, which is kind of interesting when you think about it. Yeah. And then you watch Next Generation, and of course, they seem to recover their shuttlecrafts. And now you have Voyager, which is off in the Gamma Quadrant, and they're also replacing things like shuttles. They can't pull into a starbase and pick up another shuttle because one got destroyed on a planet, and they seem to have an unlimited supply of shuttles. Every episode, they destroy a shuttle, and they seem to still have plenty. They never say, well, we don't have any shuttles left. They always have shuttles. It's those little things in series, you don't even think about, It's like watching the X-Files. When you've watched the X-Files over all the seasons, it followed communication technology. So they didn't make something up that they used. They used what was available. So when it started off, they used beepers and a payphone, which started working on copiers. We had pagers, and we had to use customers' phones and payphones to call in and call customers. And it was that way with the X-Files. They had a beeper, and then they'd have to go use a phone, and then they graduated to using, something else. And they never really made it to the smartphone in the series. In the new series, the last two that they had recently, they had smartphones. And there was that scene with Mulder running through the woods trying to figure out how to take pictures with his smartphone. So, it's just the little things that when you look back at the series, these iPads, which really the technology didn't exist. It's kind of interesting about, they had the iPad. They used those on the original Star Trek. They had the iPads. And that was technology that didn't really exist. That is used quite a lot now. We don't have the little communicator button that we can hit and talk to a ship in outer space. Even our cell phones don't communicate as well as as their communicators. Kind of makes you wonder why do we even bother with towers and cell phone towers when they have space, and just went that route. So it's pretty crazy out there right now. This virus thing has, for some reason, has a lot of people fearful of devastation, and you guys just need to calm down. I got 2 rolls of toilet paper left, and I can't find it anywhere. I just have it here. I have alternatives. Don't worry, but it's just it's just funny because I can't get it on Amazon. I can't get it at local places. Everything is, what are people doing with it? When I used to talk to you about um, putting stuff away, I would say single ply, you can rolls of single ply toilet paper into a Home Depot bucket and seal it up for future use. And most of you thought I was crazy. And here you got people that are buying it enough that it's going to last them for the rest of their lives and then some. Which if they have it stored somewhere in the garage and there's a flood, the toilet paper is going to be mush, moisture. And let me tell you, if you have a field mouse in your house, they're going to think that you just bought them the best Christmas present ever. They'll just love that toilet paper. And you'll kind of roll out and it'll have a gouge going through the thing because field mouse just thought you were buying them the bestest thing. But the one thing is probably the advantage is it's teaching people to think about it because you really should have at least 2 weeks of food storage. A month is probably a good rule. You could have a year. You could set up a underground bug out place if you want. But the reality is if you have a couple of weeks of stored food, because we have storms, there isn't really any place that doesn't have chance of having a storm, hurricane or tornado, snowstorms, power failures. We've had the power went off here a couple weeks ago, and I was so miserable, and I had to switch on the battery. It's not a big deal really to switch over to battery, but it was an effort. Power came back on, and it was an effort to go back on grid power.
Hello.
And I just got a visitor, so I guess I'll have to sign off and talk to you guys another time because people just can't bother calling and say I'm over. They just show up.
I got a new phone and everything because my iPhone